The Ja 3 was at the grassroots level, at least, one of the better received Nike basketball shoes in recent memory. A ton of people, at least from my experience, whereas the Ja 3, it was such a good looking shoe, very aesthetically pleasing. I don't think I ever did a review for that sneaker, but I did play in them. I think it was a pretty good shoe. And now we're back with number 4 in Ja Morant's signature shoe line. But Ja Morant is beginning a new journey in his NBA career. Recently got traded to the Trail Blazers, so let's see how his new shoe compares to his previous ones. Nike Ja 4 Nightmare. Ja 4 Nightmare is dropping on August 13th for $130, 4th iteration of Ja Morant's signature shoe. The 1s and 2s are, in my opinion, just didn't do him justice. They were kind of doo-doo, but Ja 3's definitely a big step up. The Ja 4s though, I think in terms of the looks, took a step back because the Ja 3s are just so pretty. I still think it maintains a very sleek type of shape. But if I had to choose just based on looks alone, I'm going with the 3s. But performance-wise, I think this is where there are some good additions or good changes to this shoe. And in terms of the box, you will get a Nike Ja Morant branded box. You'll see that Ja logo on the lid, and it also came with this Ja Morant sticker. And in terms of the materials, you will see just textile with this haptic pattern on top that, according to Nike.com, is supposed to make this more durable. Just to the touch, it feels kind of cheap. Like, this doesn't feel great. Now on the swoosh itself, that comes actually in like a solid TPU plastic piece, as well as the top 2 eyelets that actually spells out Ja. We saw that on the Ja 3s. You also see the same design language on the medial side of the shoe. That swoosh there is actually like stitched there, so it's not printed. It is not a solid piece. And then moving up the tongue, you'll see at the bottom of the laces, very subtly, there's actually a number 2. And on the other shoe, it actually has number 1 there. That obviously is for number 12. That is his jersey number. I believe in Portland, he's going to wear number 1. And on the tongue itself, you will actually see a bunch of dots too, like raised dots. You can feel it. Now in terms of laces, just black laces out of the box, no extra laces. If I had to go with another color, I think white actually would make this shoe really pop. But black it is. Now in terms of the cushioning of the Ja 4s, this is probably where the biggest change comes from. On the Ja 3s, if you remember, they use like a recycled hybrid Zoom X foam in terms of the cushioning. They switched it out, just replaced it with Cushlon 3.0, and also they have provided us with what they call Super Power insoles. That is just kind of their branding for a supercritical insole. And if you didn't know what that means, it's basically taking either like usually EVA or polyurethane, you put it under high pressure with either CO2 or nitrogen, then it reaches this point where technically it's both a gas and a fluid, and then it makes the foam itself like super light but also more responsive as well as more breathable. And that's the theory behind it. And if you imagine just feeling this insole compared to like just another piece of crap insole that Nike will often give you, does feel slightly like thicker, a little bit more plush, just gives it a little bit more bounce underfoot. Now overall cushioning wise, in terms of how it feels underfoot, it is no secret that I love Cushlon 3.0. That is why I really love the Sabrina 2s. That was actually the first Nike basketball shoe to utilize 3.0 foam, and on this shoe, I really like it as well. Now there are some like durability concerns with this type of Cushlon 3.0. I know some like heavier players do have the experience where the foam doesn't hold up too well. Personally, I haven't had too much of an issue, but I am like a more lightweight player, so just keep that in mind. But underfoot, in addition to that insole, it actually feels pretty good. Like it gives a really good balance between like a softer type of cushioning, not super firm like old school Phylon. Now in terms of the outsole, you will see this like pointed pattern, and you'll see kind of branding there. You'll see 12, and in certain parts you'll see the phrase "you're in the way," and that I believe is a reference to him like jumping and dunking or just playing ball in general. He's very explosive. Now the traction here, in my experience, has been very good. Now I played this time in a pretty clean gym. It was decently maintained, However, I switched to the Sabrina 4s like halfway through my pickup session, and I do have to say, compared to those, this felt much better. That was actually slightly disappointing on the Sabrina 4s, but the traction here, it really worked. I wiped my shoes like once or twice maybe, but overall, if you play in a decently maintained gym, I think this worked really well. What I really also love is that the traction comes all the way up onto like the midsole itself. So if you imagine your feet, for whatever reason, if you're playing and kind of doing hard stops, if your feet ever go like this, there's at least some friction so your foot doesn't just keep sliding. And if you do want to play outdoors in them, the rubber here, I wouldn't say it's super strong, and especially the way this traction is shaped, I do feel like these nubs can like break off and rip off if you play outdoors in them. He is coming out with a budget shoe for $90, I believe, the JAR 12 time. So if you want to really go outdoors, maybe try those when they release. Now on the shoe, you will see this TPU frame that Nike calls JAR frame. And this kind of A here comes all the way up, provides more stability and side-to-side support. And then actually from the outsole, you will see part of that midfoot plate that obviously is to provide more torsional rigidity and stability. So that's all good and dandy there. But I will say, when I first put this shoe on foot, if you look from the bird's eye view, it doesn't really seem like it's a very aggressive outrigger. So when I first put this shoe on, I did my first kind of more explosive movement. I was like, oof, it doesn't feel as good as some other shoes can be, just by a little tad. That is not a deal breaker, but something that I definitely noticed. Now onto the heel here, you don't have like a super solid heel counter or anything. You do kind of rely on actually this TPU swoosh on the lateral side, as well as this green part on the medial side actually helps to stabilize the heel there as well. Now in terms of sizing and comfort, I am a wide and flat footer. For a lot of Nike basketball shoes and past Ja Morant shoes, it did come kind of tight, especially in the toe box area. It wasn't something where I went up half a size on. After playing them, it'll start to break in and then loosen up, but it never fit that great. For this shoe though, yeah, it actually felt decent. It can be a little tight when you first stuff your feet in if you have wide and flat feet, but definitely much better fitting than in the JAR 3s for my feet. So sizing is probably the best it's ever been for a Ja Morant shoe. Definitely, if I had to recommend something, go true to size. In terms of just overall comfort, like underfoot, if you're used to Cushlon 3.0, you will know it is actually a decently plush and comfortable shoe even for just walking around. So if you want to wear this casually, you definitely can. It is not, in terms of weight, the lightest basketball shoe you're gonna find on the market. But honestly, modern day Nike basketball shoes, how light do you really need it to be? Come on. Maybe that's just the old man in me because I grew up when foams were around, when LeBron 4s were coming out, and those are pretty brickish and heavy shoes. Even some of the Kobe's aren't the lightest shoes that you can get, but back in the day, they were super light. Honestly, as long as it's kind of meeting that baseline, I'm all good. Now, in terms of how low you sit to the ground, I would say still pretty decently low profile compared to something that's super low. By my experience, the Sabrina 2s felt pretty low. I feel like this just sits slightly above that, but nothing that would get in the way of core feel, which a lot of basketball players do really prioritize. Now, since this is a performance sneaker, I don't give it a soft score. The metrics just don't really make sense. But final verdict of the JAR 4s, I think performance-wise, it's probably the best that he's ever come out with. The JAR 3s look really good. I still think those look better than the 4s, but performance and fit and cushioning, it is all changed to better suit my preferences. Surprisingly, I actually preferred these over the Sabrina 4s. I played on the exact same day, exact same gym, exact same floor for hours, and both of those shoes, I'm actually taking this one. Huge surprise for me. One concern even a lightweight player like me may have though, is the lack of insane support and stability on the shoe here. So if you're a heavyweight, maybe you just get a second opinion. I'm a lightweight player, so I can just tell you what I experienced. So that's it. Thanks for watching. So inclined. Let me know what you think of the Nike JAR 4 Nightmare. Subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.